Hello and welcome. My name is Amanda Reed. I'm going to take a few minutes to introduce you to the graphing calculator in Illuminate Live. The graphing calculator can be found under the Windows menu. So Window, Graphing Calculator, and this is what it looks like. Now participants can open the graphing calculator at any time. So that calculator is available in a private way for each participant, and they don't need your permission to use that private calculator. The shared calculator is one that resides on the moderator's application, and the moderator then must give the participant, each participant calculator permission in order to be able to use that shared calculator. Let's get into the calculator a little bit more deeply. This shows you basically all of the buttons available on the calculator. First off, there's a concept of follow moderator. So I just mentioned that each participant can open up that graphing calculator and use it in their private mode. We could also have a shared calculator, and we could set it to follow moderator, which is then everybody is going to see what the moderator is doing in that graphing calculator. You can see the y-axis and the x-axis. You're going to see that we can zoom in and zoom out. We can move around within the graphing area. We could change the size of the grid. We could go from shared to private. And then we have our function boxes. We're going to be able to graph an explicit function in the graphing calculator. So we're going to be able to plot those two functions on the same grid. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. We also can set our display regions. All right, so some of the features of the graphing calculator. I already mentioned that we have a shared and a private mode. So we can go back and forth between shared and private. So you might want for the whole class to be working on an activity using that calculator, or you might want it to be set into private so each individual participant is working. We have the ability to plot any two functions. We can find those points of interest. But once we have plotted it, we can come out here and click on a point, and that's going to give us a point of interest. We can evaluate those functions, change the grid spacing, the window settings. We can zoom in and zoom out, and as I said, the follow moderator is also available. And once again, with follow moderator, then the moderator is really controlling. So when the graphic calculator opens and you click follow moderator, participants are forced to view the shared graphic calculator window, and then they can see the changes that are made in your calculator as the moderator. Also, participants cannot dismiss the graphing calculator or use a private calculator when you're in this mode. Participants can make changes on the calculator if you have given them the calculator permission. All right, so this is basically what that dynamic is going to be working with that calculator. I'm going to go ahead and go into application sharing and just show you the graphing calculator. All right, now that you're seeing my interface, I'm going to go to Window and Graphing Calculator. And here's my graphing calculator. You can see it's shared. I could set it to private. I can go ahead and set it to follow moderator. And I'm going to go ahead and plot two functions. So by simply coming in here and I can type sine versus, and then x plus 3. And you can see that is just graphed right onto our calculator. And let's get a parabola here. And there we have, and now if we want to see the intersection of any of these two lines, just by simply going out and clicking, you're going to be able to see the intersection, and I could just keep moving around. I also have the ability to evaluate a function, so I can type in here, solve for y when x equals, and go ahead and put in a number there, and I can go ahead and solve for a function. So that just gives you a little bit of an introduction to the graphing calculator. Also notice in the participant window there's a new column there indicating that, that I've got the graphing calculator up, and this is that permission that I would hand out to my participants. I'm going to jump out of that, go ahead and close my calculator. So this is just a brief introduction to the graphing calculator. I do encourage you to go to Illuminate.com, to our training site, go right into all of our version 9.5 resources. And I would strongly encourage you, if you're interested in working with the graphing calculator, to get our user guide. Go to chapter 23, open that up, take a look at the graphing calculator, read a little bit more about it, and then get into a session with a buddy and go ahead and practice the shared mode, the private mode, the follow moderator, and then you'll get a good sense of exactly what you're able to do with that graphing calculator. Thanks so much for watching this introduction to the graphing calculator. Hope you will find plenty of uses for it and enjoy using the graphing calculator in your sessions. Thank you.